Hello, Grand Strand. This is Richard Florzak, the private chef to the stars, and welcome back to Talking About Food. It's the only food commentary show on the Grand Strand. We talk about restaurants, food trucks, festivals, and farmers markets. I like to interview local chefs, all local stuff here, folks. Local business, restaurant business owners, food business owners, and from time to time, I'll have guests in that aren't necessarily, chefs or food business owners, but they live in the restaurant world. There's a restaurant I've talked to a number of people about that I fell in love with as soon as I arrived here, just by accident. And it amazes me not only how great they are, but how many people I've talked to that haven't been there. It just blows my mind. It's called Judy Boone's. It's an institution here in Murrells Inlet. And I have Jamie Johnson, the general manager of Judy Boone's, in the studio with me today. I'm so glad he could make time for me because I've been calling over to Judy Boone's a number of times, and I just can't get somebody to come in. And when Jamie heard about it, he said, I'll be there. So I'm so glad that he is, because I just got a million questions. You folks know my background by now, private chef to the stars, work for Tom Cruise, Mel Gibson, blah, blah, blah. And, I've done all sorts of cooking, from the high-end bougie stuff all the way down to peanut butter and jelly. And I like all of it and everything in between. Anyway, so Jamie Johnson of Judy Boone's, welcome to Talking About Food.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no,
appreciate it.
My pleasure. First, if you could tell the listeners, what is your position and what do you actually do at Judy Boone's? So
Charles Beaver is the owner of Judy Boone's, along with Driftwood Seafood and Steak, along with also Fork and Links, both local restaurants. And I have worked at all three, some shape or another, from either bar manager to now assistant GM, and now GM of Judy Boone's.
Okay, so you're the actual GM of Judy Boone's. What are your responsibilities?
So with Judy Boone's, with hiring, payroll, all the front of the house things, along with working with Tommy Wilson on the food orders and paper products, everything under the roof. So
would you call Tommy Wilson the chef?
Hey, these are his recipes, yes, sir.
Yeah, so he is the chef. So that's a pretty big responsibility for that place, because it seats approximately how many?
Around 175 people.
Oh, my God. My restaurant in Los Angeles that I had before I came here had 50 seats and 6 employees, and it used to drive me nuts trying to keep that thing going. So the food there is awesome.
Thank you.
You just said Tommy Wilson is responsible for the menu. Do you have any idea how he chooses the items, these specific items?
So Tommy comes from, and I would love to have had him today, here come in, but as anyone knows Tommy, he does not want to be the spotlight. He likes staying in the back and watching everything unfold. So with Tommy, he had actually worked at a legendary restaurant down here, Prosser's,
right. I remember hearing about it.
And he got trained by an older lady, Miss Ellie Mae, who passed away a few years ago. Mm. These are her recipes, along with the Prosser's recipes.
I see.
And Tommy was their main guy for 20 plus years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So long story short, when Prosser's closed, our owner, Charles Beaver, got a hold of Tommy and Ryan Prosser and Mrs. Prosser and said, hey, guys, I'm going to change Admiral's Flagship to Judy Boone's.
So it was Admiral's Flagship before it was Judy Boone's.
Correct.
Okay.
And that used to be one of the biggest seafood buffets down here. Very popular for a lot of years. But yeah, we opened up February 6, 2021.
Oh, wow. That's right when we got here.
Mhm.
Wow. So I stumbled upon one of the best.
Yeah, we have a 4-year anniversary coming up.
Right out of the gate. So when you came into the picture, Tommy had already been working at Prosser's. So, chefs can often be territorial. Now, I can vouch for that. I was a little bit that way myself in the restaurant. Not Tommy. Explain how was it when you came on board and you were going to work with Chef Tommy?
Sure. So when Charles Beaver told me I was going there to manage there, we walked in. They'd already done a soft opening for that weekend. I started on that Tuesday, and fortunate enough for me, people like Tommy, Charles Beaver, Armando, who is Tommy's main cook, and then James, they all worked together for 15 to 18 years. Here I come, and they're like, who?
Right, that's why I asked you this. It's very interesting to me. Go ahead.
Tommy basically said, man, we're a team. We're going to work together. What would you like to do? And he has helped me along the way. And then, of course, we still have 3 servers that were there from day one. And they are the bee's knees.
Yeah.
Anna, Sonia, and Marie.
Yeah.
All came from Prosser's.
Yeah.
And now they will tell you, I go to them. We're the type of restaurant. Sure. Do I make an executive decision on something? Yeah, of course. But as far as the morale of the restaurant, I go to them and we ask together.
Yeah.
We figure it out together.
Right.
And Tommy, Anna, Sonia, Marie, Armando, James, and the rest of the staff included that were all newcomers, we're all family.
Yeah.
And we all ask.
But who makes the final decision?
Me.
You do. Back to the original question. The actual, let me just say this first. I'm not usually a buffet goer. Not that it's beneath me at all. The reason why I'm not is because I can't control myself, and I end up eating 5 times as much as I need to. But what I have noticed over the years, and even in my extensive catering career back in Los Angeles, there are a certain amount of items on a buffet that are the go-to ones that everybody wants, and then there's often quite a few items that are just put in there to sort of add. I don't see that at Judy Boone's. Every item that's on that buffet is certainly worth being there.
We had the staples, yes, sir. So as you asked earlier, my job is to marketing and to find out what works and what doesn't work,
right?
Along with helping with Tommy.
Yeah.
And Tommy, like for example, when we first opened, I thought, man, let's do Wednesday night Italian night.
Right.
I had never worked at a buffet.
Yeah.
Did not go over at all.
Do you know why?
We're a Southern restaurant.
Yeah.
We're not Italian.
So it was like,
I don't mean that any disrespect.
No. I get that. But would you say that was like throwing a curveball at people who were showing up and expecting to have the fantastic food?
Yes. We took over like 4 items.
Right.
Put on a baked ziti.
Right.
Had little things like that, garlic bread.
Right.
And I forget what else we did. I think we may have even done meatballs.
Yeah.
Never took off.
I love
and
this stuff.
Tommy, thankfully, he told me, he's like, man, listen, this is what works.
Yeah.
If it's not broke,
right.
Don't fix
it.
Yep.
If I may ask this,
sure.
and if you can't answer it, that's fine. Was Tommy in favor of that special Italian night or not?
Tommy is an absolutely wonderful right-hand man, and he will do anything that you can say, hey, I think this will help the restaurant.
Right.
He's always looking for, and so is Charles Beaver.
Yeah.
Always to push the envelope. Not a major drastic. Like, hey, let's try it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Right.
Didn't really cost us any money.
Yeah.
That kind of deal. So he was in favor of trying to do different and bigger things.
Yeah.
Tommy's always looking to try different things. Like for a catering, we had to do a breakfast quiche.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, we had to Google what a quiche was.
Yeah.
We're Southern people. I mean,
no,
we're
I
a
get
buffet.
it. Yeah,
we don't do.
Hey, listen, You say you're Southern people, you don't understand that. I trained at 2 different culinary institutes. I've taken classes all over the world. When I arrived here, there's a number of dishes that I had heard of, but I had never tasted before. And people are asking me, I've been here 3 years and I still feel I'm new. So people will say, hey, what's your favorite shrimp and grits? And I'm like, well, I hesitate because I think this place is good, but others may say, you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm in a learning process all the time. And I'll tell you this, I just discovered this is so cool. I love when this stuff happens. I like a certain chicken bog from a certain place. And last week on the show, we had 2 food influencers who have eaten in a gazillion different restaurants around the Grand Strand, and the topic of chicken bog came up. And it was Amy Everhart, the Myrtle Beach foodie babe. She said the same one that I thought, Judy Boone.
Really? Well, thank you.
I couldn't believe, I thought, it was like, oh, wow, I'm actually on the right track.
So chicken bog originated in South Carolina. Civil War days, whenever you had to feed mass quantity of men and women, especially men soldiers. And we had chickens, hogs, pigs, and rice fields on our property.
Right.
So you combine the 3, and that's what you do. Now, bog, we like to bog it down now. Mine at home that I make is wet. It's thick. You put your fork in it, big old glob.
Yeah.
That's the way I make it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I love our chicken bog.
Yeah.
So, but that's where it came from. The Civil War days when we had to cook for mass quantities of our soldiers.
I love the fact that all of the items are attractive. You don't feel like you're going into a cost-effective kind of buffet. You guys have fried flounder on the menu every time I go in there. If I go to one of the markets, it's $28 a pound. What is the cost for the dinner buffet in the evening?
$15.99.
It's $16. I mean, I don't know why everybody is there every night. You said before that you're responsible for hiring.
Yes, sir.
I hear your ads on the radio is come there once and they treat you like family. I have experienced that every single time I've been there. How do you accomplish that? Because I know from owning a restaurant, usually the staff, it's a revolving door.
It starts with our owner, right? Charles Beaver. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Charles Beaver, Bean, they call him, starts off with him. And then Tommy, being the greatest right-hand man in the world, brought in a few staff members from Prosser's. Mm-hmm. And basically, I had already a lineup of people that could do it.
Yeah.
All I had to do was fill in the pieces. And then along with Tommy's kitchen staff, these guys work relentlessly. They cook for 500 people every day. So, but we have a thing. We are the Mayberry of restaurants. Yeah. And I mean that because we're all family and friends.
Yeah.
But Tommy's the face of the food, and I wanted that when we started. Instead of him being stuck in the kitchen.
Right.
I want Tommy to be the face of the food because these are his recipes. So basically, my job was really easy. I walk in already lined up to hit a grand slam.
Yeah. Ever have to fire anybody?
Unfortunately, it comes with it. No one wants negativity or drama.
Of course.
I made the executive decision, pulled the girls aside and told them what I was going to do. And I fired 4 people in one day. And it was the greatest thing we ever did.
And what did they do to cause you to fire them?
The drama, the negativity, the not getting along with others, not doing their job the way we have our standards set.
Yeah.
For example, our restaurant at Judy Boone's, I'm not saying we don't miss things, but if they answer the phone, we should be saying, "Thank you for calling Judy Boone's. This is Jamie. How may I help you?" When you come in the door, "Hey y'all, hey folks, how are you?" When they leave, "Thank you guys for coming. Have a great day. Stay warm." Something.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement.
Right.
We also have, unfortunately, a set of stairs that go inside of our restaurant that you've been there.
Yeah.
our hosts are told to tell them, everyone, please watch your step.
Yeah.
As we know, we eat with our eyes and we see things. So when they go up those steps, they're not even looking at the steps.
Yeah, because the buffet starts right there. Yeah.
Exactly right. They're looking at the food.
Right.
So I don't want them to trip. I don't want them to be embarrassed. I don't want them to get hurt.
Yeah.
And I want them to enjoy their stay. So that's why we do that.
Yeah.
But
was it hard to fire them for you?
No, not at all. No, because I knew it was for the better. I do not have a big turnover ratio, thankfully.
That says a lot about the management. You know, firing somebody was the hardest thing for me. I would have people that would literally steal from me, and I would have to confront them and fire them. It was still, you know, I'll never forget this one time. I had to let this woman go. She didn't steal anything. She was horrible at what she did, and I said, "I'm sorry. I've got to let you go." And she turned to me and she said, "You don't want me anymore?" And it just broke my heart. But, you know, when you're not making any money and you need every dollar that comes in. So, well, you know what I love so much about the place, and you can only do this in a buffet that's affordable.
Sure.
If I want to go in and just have 2 or 3 items, right? You know, let's say, you know, I'm on a diet again and I can go in there and have the chicken, I can have the fish, I can have the salad bar. Any other place, it's going to be $25. It's $16, and I can eat as much as I want. I have family still in the north that come down to visit, and in the beginning, they were asking me, you know, so how is the southern food? We haven't been exposed to that, and I was just learning it myself. When my family comes down now, first thing that they want to do is go to Judy Boone's.
My favorite night, Saturday night. That's our Mississippi pot roast.
Oh, you got to tell me what that is.
So this is actually our owner, Charles Beaver, and his wife's recipe.
Oh, wow.
Every day, all day, every night, we always have fried chicken, fried flounder, fried shrimp, chicken bog, chicken and dumplings, and Prosser's own barbecue. Saturday night's my favorite because of the pot roast. And what they do is they actually cook that for 12 hours with the pepperoncinis.
Oh,
so
nice.
We season it, and that's how they do it. So that's my absolute favorite. But Tuesday nights, we do frog legs.
Yeah.
Wednesday nights, we do hamburger steak, peppers, onions.
Hold on a second. The frog leg night, is that popular?
Oh, God, yes.
Really? Yeah, you lost me
Huge.
on that one. Yeah.
I'm not a big frog leg eater. Yep. Nope, not I either. And that same day, though, on Tuesday day during lunch, we do livers and gizzards.
Yeah, you lost me on that one, too.
Same here. Huge.
There's
huge.
2 things I cannot swallow.
Same here.
One is liver and the other one is sweet potatoes.
I thought you were going to say gizzards.
Yeah.
That livers and gizzards on Tuesdays, frog legs Tuesday nights. Wednesdays, hamburger steak night.
Yeah.
With peppers, onions, sausages, and every sausage. Thursday is our brisket. We do it with also our barbecue chicken and ribs and also the pulled pork. Friday is our seafood night. This is Tommy's recipe with the shrimp and grits, along with fried devil crab, fried oysters, fried flounder, fried shrimp.
Wow.
Every Friday night for $15.99.
Wow, I'm definitely going to be there the next Saturday night that I'm available because I've got to try this Mississippi pot roast. I love
it is to die
stuff like this. No pretense here. No pretense at all. As a matter of fact, I zeroed in on something that you said that is living proof that you folks over at Judy Boone's are there to please, and that is that you bring in the pork, the barbecued pork from Prosser's.
Correct.
So it's not made in-house, but like I said, there's no pretense there. You're not trying to be a James Beard award-winning chef. You want to have the best quality food on your
and they are the best. Tell me this. I know we're talking all about me and Judy Boone's, and I greatly appreciate. And you've mentioned a couple of times you were raised or you lived in Los Angeles.
Yeah. 38 years.
I hate to ask and bring it up about the fires.
Yeah, it's devastating. Yeah, I've got a lot of friends that have lost their homes. Obviously, you've heard on the news Mel Gibson did, and and some other people I know. I did hear a bit of a miracle story. A very, very good friend of mine. He was Tom Cruise's personal trainer when I was applying for the position. And I was doing lunch for Tom one time, and he had his trainer there. And I was introduced to him, and it turns out that he's from 2 towns over from where I grew up in New Jersey. He's just the coolest guy. I watched his kids grow and go to college. We lived right across from each other in what is called a Muse in London when Tom was doing Mission Impossible and his kids were there. And anyway, he lives in Pacific Palisades and his house was spared. I just found out the other night.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it's a cool thing how prayers can work sometimes.
Well, our prayers are sent that way, please.
Yeah, good stuff. One last question, Jamie, before we wrap it up, and maybe I'm stupid, but is there a Judy Boone?
There is. She is a small little country lady from the middle of Georgia near Georgia Southern. That's where our owner, Charles Beaver, met his wife at. And Holly, his wife, is from there. Her mother is Judy Boone.
Oh, wow.
And it's a real fixture, and she will come in here and whip both of us. She's a small, petite little lady, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And she visits 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Comes in
so
here.
it's named after her.
It is.
Anyway, like I said earlier, there's no pretense at Judy Boone's. It's one of my favorites. If anybody who hasn't been there is either from Mars or maybe feels it's beneath them for some stupid reason, if it's the latter, it's your loss. It's great food. Why would anybody pass up a fantastic down-home, southern, low-country, friendly, quality buffet at an amazing, affordable price? I do not get paid for this endorsement. Jamie can vouch for that. I might get some things wrong along the way, but I will never steer any listener in the wrong direction, whether paid or unpaid. Anyway, Jamie Johnson of Judy Boone's general manager, what a thrill to have you here, and I hope you'll come back.
The thrill is all mine, sir.
Well,
thank you so much for having us.
No, thank you. So appreciate it. And coming up after the break, one of the hottest food truck chefs around, Meredith Herman of the Gnosh Pit. You may have had some of her food at some of the food truck festivals or one of the many businesses that she camps out with. She'll be here in the studio right after the break. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Talking About Food. As promised, I've got a really hot chef. She's one of the top food truck owners, operators, chefs. As a matter of fact, some of the other food truck owners have told me that she is the number one food truck here in the Grand Strand. Very interested to talk to her. Her name is Meredith Herman, and she owns the Gnosh Pit. That's Gnosh. Meredith, welcome to Talking About Food.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure as always. Okay, I'm going to do something a little bit different than I usually do, and that is I'm going to do I'm just going to sort of fire questions at you, the sort of typical ones that a lot of people like to know about
Gotcha.
your food and stuff. And I want to get into some other stuff. When I was searching for different food truck chefs to have on the show, I think it was Josie Allen of Black Cat Kitchen. She was telling me that you, Meredith, Chef Meredith, have a rock band, and I want to hear about that. So anyway, if I can just fire these questions at you, and if I'm doing it too fast, you just say, "Hey, whoa, slow down there, mister." Okay.
Go for it.
How did you get your start in the food business?
I went to culinary school in New York. Worked in restaurants for many, many years. Decided I didn't want to work for people anymore because most chefs are... Can I curse on this?
No.
Okay. Are not very nice people.
Say that again. Repeat that again.
I said most chefs are not very nice people.
Meredith, I love you already. I have had this ongoing thing over the years with with especially the bougie wannabe chefs. I say I have to keep reminding them, we cook food for a living. We don't search for cures for cancer.
Right.
Right? We're here to make people happy. Okay,
Right.
so go ahead. I interrupted
And
you.
feed them. Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to kind of start my own thing. Didn't know how to start it, but I just knew that I had some sort of passion in what I was doing.
Yeah. So you went to culinary school, which I'm sure you have a background now in classic cuisine. How did you go from that to food truck food?
Well, it's actually kind of a funny story. Why I went to culinary school is that I was married and I wanted to be this wife that would prepare these beautiful, lavish dishes for my husband when he came home.
Right.
Yeah, I'm one of those. So he said that I had talent. I was like, well, it's not really talent. You look up a recipe, you just try to make it pretty, and then, and you taste it. You keep tasting it until you think it tastes satisfactory.
Yeah.
And then you hope other people think it's satisfactory. So that's why I started doing it.
So let me ask you something then. Did you have any kind of passion for this prior to that?
I could hardly boil water.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun. So your ex-husband convinced you to go to culinary school. You get out of culinary school. You've learned the mother sauces and everything else you need to know.
Yeah.
And you decide to go into the food truck world.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah,
you worked in some restaurants?
Yes.
Yes.
I worked. I took a lot of abuse. They say you have to have thick skin to get into the restaurant industry, and they're right. And I always kind of I thought I had thick skin until I went into the restaurant industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm not cut out for this.
Right.
There was a lot of chefs that made me cry. And, I'm confident in myself that I can say that they made me feel worthless, let's just say.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate and happens a lot. I've been yelled at. I've been screamed at. I've been told that I was, I would get yelled at like how terrible of a chef I was. Even though, I wasn't a chef, I was just starting out. But that's really not how you talk to people. That's not how I talk to my employees at all.
No, I'm sure that you don't. I don't know where that comes from. I have a suspicion, but this could go way down a rabbit hole, and that maybe would be for another episode.
Right.
I can't think of another business where that happens as often as it does in the food business.
I would say maybe the entertainment industry.
No, I don't see screaming like that.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Would you say you have a style?
Yeah, I would. Flavors and texture
Mm-hmm.
are my two things.
Right. What item on your menu are you the most proud of?
We have our menu is always changing, but we have created something called the deep fried burger. So we take a burger, season it, cook it to medium rare, cool it off, take pizza dough, stretch it out, put the burger in it once it's cooled off, and then we, every week is a different one. This week's a shepherd's pie.
Wow.
So it's mashed potatoes, peas, carrots, dill, mashed potatoes, and then cheddar cheese, and then we wrap it in the pizza dough, and then we deep fry it.
Yeah.
So the dough is initially the bun.
Right. It's almost like a poor man's version of beef Wellington.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool. I will get lured in to a restaurant or a food truck, but often by just their ad line. Your ad line reads, "We want to help create an unforgettable experience." And I just love that. There's some place that they use the ad line, "Count memories, not calories." And I was so blown away by that I contacted them like 5 times and they never got back to me, so I won't mention them by name. So once again, what is your target market? I love the fact that food trucks, they'll defy typical business plans.
Hungry people.
That's a good answer.
I don't know. We try to do right now, we're posted up at a place called Southside Patties, and it's older people. And they're little by little, just tiptoeing into the foods that they don't really know what to make of us.
Yeah.
Because they're Southside Patties, they have burgers and wings, and the food's great. but it's just not anything that they've seen. You know, like we come in there with our deep fried burgers and PB&Js and like all sorts of this like weird stuff. And one guy actually said to me, "Hey, you guys have any like normal food?" And I was like, "What's like normal food?"
So this is a place that already serves food and they allow you to pull your food truck in there?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
They just want some time off.
Oh, I see. So they close down their kitchen when you are there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're burnt out, you know, from working open to close every single day. These two guys, they're really, really nice dudes. And they gave me like kind of like a proposal, and January is really slow for us. We, you know, kind of go with we go events, concerts, festivals, catering. We're not really one now to just sit on the side of the road and hope that we're going to get customers. We obviously did that, you know, in the beginning. That's how you have to start. You got to start somewhere.
Very interesting to me. How did you discover the fact that this place would allow you to operate there?
Honestly, I was just there on a Sunday drinking with a friend of mine, and his mother like nudged me in there, and she's like, "Hey, you might want to talk to these guys about, you know, leasing their kitchen or blah blah. They're burnt out, and they're, you know, not that they're not passionate about it, but it's tiring. I get it, you know. Like, I mean, you know, 4 shots later, we're talking and you know, we're just having this conversation. And I told him our January is slow. I got to keep my employees on,
right?
Because by March we're so busy. I have to have a full staff.
Yeah.
Normally in January I'll take the month off, but now that I have such a good staff, I can't just say, "All right, fend for yourself, guys."
Yeah, no, you got to keep them around because it's the old saying, good help is hard to find, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, even if I lose money this month, I know that I'm doing good by my staff.
Yeah.
And I know that, you know, they're super appreciative that I'm keeping them on.
Yeah.
You know, so it kind of like, it was almost fate, because I was like, what am I going to do in January?
Are there other businesses that allow you to come in?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've done stuff with Shakers as well. Like on Mondays, they'll be closed and then we'll set up over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we'll, you know.
So how did you approach them about it?
Shakers is our commissary.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a mentor, favorite chef?
I would say Anthony Bourdain.
Why?
It's not about him as a chef. It's about him as a person and how he lived and how he learned and the trials and you know, tribulations that he went through.
How do you find people to work for you?
I'll put out ads. I've had some friends work for me. Sometimes that's not the best situation or idea.
Well, I understand why, but explain to the listeners why.
Because they'll take advantage of you.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, well, you know that tomorrow is like, you know, Seven Dust is playing, so I got to go to that show. You get it, right? I'm like, yeah, I get it. I want to go too, but now I have to work because your dumbass isn't going to work, you know?
Yeah. What are your favorite restaurants around the Grand Strand?
I love Hot Fish Club.
Yes, I like that too.
That lobster pot pie.
Yes, that's excellent.
Is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like $30-something, but I mean, it still feed me for like 2 days. Sushi, Shiki, is delicious.
I hate to say it, but I'm so over sushi.
Are you?
Yeah, it came out in the mid-'80s in Los Angeles. And
I like Half Shell. Their happy hour is great. I like a lot of seafood. Greg's Cabana.
Oh, I love Greg's.
Yeah.
What about pizza? What's your favorite pizza place?
If I do eat pizza, it's the Mulberry Street place
You
or
like that?
Geno's.
Which Gino's? The same one in Murrells Inlet or Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, Murrells Inlet, yeah.
So I was just at the one in Myrtle Beach the other day. It's one of my top favorites. You probably wouldn't know this, but every week I do a pizza commentary. And at the end of a year, I'm going to choose my favorite one. And it's been a lot of fun, although it's been very frustrating because last week I went to 3 different pizzerias and I didn't like any of them. And I've got a policy. I'm not going to knock anybody. I just won't talk about it. When Josie Allen was on, she was explaining about how you have to have a commissary kitchen.
Yeah.
And I knew that, but I wanted her to explain that for the listeners.
Right.
That, like you were just saying, most people just have this image that Meredith is going to pull up in the Gnosh truck and all the food's going to be there, and you open the window and people come up and then you drive away. It's far from the truth.
Magic button.
Explain the commissary kitchen situation. And this is all based on DHEC rules.
Yeah, I mean, but it makes sense, obviously.
You know what? I don't know that it does. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I would like to talk to you more about that. But finish up there.
Commissary kitchen, where you prepare your food, where you dump your dirty water, where you get your clean water, where you do your dishes, where you dump your grease, like a grease trap, if you do frying, where you get your deliveries. Like I go through performance. Obviously, if I got a delivery just to my house, I only have a freezer or refrigerator.
It's making much more sense to me now.
Yeah.
It shows you how little I know about the food truck world. It's a home base. The food truck world was on fire starting at about 10 years ago on the West Coast, and it just skyrocketed. I don't see a lot of it here.
They only just started letting food trucks a few years ago.
Why is that?
I went to a lot of the board meetings because when I moved down here, I was like, that's it. I'm going to open a food truck. Blah, 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 blah. And then come to find out that that's not even a thing here.
Yeah.
Being from New York, it's like you throw a stone and you hit 20 halal trucks and a hot dog cart, I think a lot of the restaurant people were on the board and they thought it was competition. And even though it's two totally different dining situations, you sit in a restaurant, you get a cocktail, food truck is you get your food and you go.
Yeah.
It's almost like more competition to a fast food joint, than an actual sit down restaurant. But I think that people didn't understand,
right?
Not in a bad way.
No. I get it.
They didn't have enough information and they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And all these people wanted to start food trucks and they're like, no, but they didn't. I think once they finally dove into figuring out that this can work and it's a good thing and it's a good thing for the economy. It's a good thing for, people that need jobs and this, that, and the other thing. And people want food trucks. People just think that, you run a food truck, you just drive the truck and then you park and then food just happens. And, they don't know all the things that happen to make that happen. After they finally understood and they finally passed it because here we are.
Well, I can say this in regards to Los Angeles compared to South Carolina. South Carolina is far more business friendly than Los Angeles is, and I didn't have a business in New York, so I can't say, but I have a feeling it's the same thing. Like you said, it's fairly new here, and I think that once it starts to take off, you'll find that it's a bit friendlier here. I had a wonderful relationship with the DHEC gentleman here in Myrtle Beach, I think it was, or Conway. Can't remember. Guy actually called me back on the phone. I just couldn't believe that. We'd have a chat while I was on the phone with him. He was telling me about a food truck with porch trailer.
Okay.
And I had no idea what that was. And on the phone, he emailed me. I couldn't believe it. What could the city do to help you folks grow your business?
The Quad in Pawleys is doing something really cool right now.
What is the Quad?
It's like a bar, but I don't think they have liquor yet. It's like beer, no food. And it's just going to be all food trucks all the time. Dog park. Kids can play. There's a video game room.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's in Pawleys Island, so it's a little bit of, it's like 15 minutes, south of here. Myrtle Beach, or what we're lacking is a food truck hub. We all want to work together.
Yeah.
We do have a food truck festival, which is cool, but that only happens once a year.
Once a year. You really struck a nerve with me because I had this very same idea a while ago. The Inlet Square Mall over here is pretty much defunct. I think they're building a hotel there.
Yeah, that's what
but
I
take our two dogs to run in that field, and I was thinking one day because I had seen one of the food shows. I can't stand food shows, but this one I watched, and it was like a food truck cook-off that happened every week in a specific spot that this one gentleman owned. But I thought, wouldn't it be terrific if somebody leased a bit of property like that And, you paid a fee or whatever, and you could have, 10 or 15 food trucks parked there on, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. I think that would be terrific.
Competitions, like the chili competitions, they have the bog competition. They have all that stuff, like here. I would really like to start myself doing competitions like that, but with the food trucks.
Right.
I mean, the restaurants have their thing, and that's cool. And at one point, we were allowed to be involved with it, and we're not now.
Why is that?
I 100% don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, no one has ever told me why.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that I love doing the Bloody Mary competition because I'm huge into Bloody Marys, and I like experimenting with that stuff. Same with chili, whatever. But now we are not like invited to those things anymore, and it's sad. Would the food truck like to be involved with it? Yeah. Would we like to make money while we're doing it? Of course. That's what we do, So I think that it would be cool if, and I actually have like a couple of ideas myself on like doing a TV show with food trucks and music.
And,
I mean, there's so many cool things you can do.
You have another career as well, which you actually started long before you got into the food world.
Are we talking about me being a musician?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, I guess.
What do you play?
I play guitar and I sing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most of my musician career, if that's not what you want to call it, I played guitar.
Guitar.
Yeah. I started when I was like 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who were some of your influences?
Steve Vai, Eric Johnson, Joe Satriani, Joe Bonamassa, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
So then, are you familiar with Kenny Wayne Shepherd?
Yes.
Yeah, he was my first interview on talking about
he's
food.
Incredible.
Yeah,
and he started young.
Yeah, we've been friends for, let's see now, it's 20, almost 30 years. Great guy. I have a feeling I'm going to know the answer to this, but were you into Duran Duran at all?
I do love Duran
You
Duran.
do?
Yeah.
I got to tell you a quick funny story. So I'm working for Mel Gibson, right? And I didn't have to be at the house until about 1 o'clock. So I used to get offered sort of permanent part-time jobs where I would go to work for another family in the morning and I would just leave the food once I'm done and they would fend for themselves. And it was for a woman, her name was Gila Taylor. She was the founder of Juicy Couture clothing line, right?
I love Juicy Couture.
Yeah. So I would go over to her house, her and her husband, nice people. And first of all, let me back up a second. Every once in a while, Mel Gibson's wife would ask me if my wife was in town. And if she was, I would say yes, of course. And she would say, well, call her up, have her come over and join us for dinner, right? And my wife would come over. I'd set out the food like I did every night, go back, clean up the kitchen, go back out to the dining room, check on them. And I'd see Mel and my wife, Heidi, having a conversation, Well, fast forward to I'm working for the Juicy Couture woman, and she would leave for work like a half hour after I got there, but she was married to this British man. And at one point I asked him, I said, so John, what business are you in? And he said, I founded the rock group Duran Duran.
Fantastic.
Now, I knew nothing about the 80s. I was incoherent in the 80s, right? So I got home and I said to my wife, oh, hey, guess what? Juicy, we called her. Juicy's husband is Duran Duran. She flipped out.
Huge fan.
Couldn't believe, she's screaming, you got to be kidding me. I thought I was going to have to bring out the defibrillator paddles. And I'm thinking, wait a second, you sit across the table from an Academy Award winner.
Mel Gibson,
yeah.
but Duran Duran.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that was a funny experience. What about Dio?
I love Dio.
My brother is a world-renowned artist, illustrator, and he did one of the covers for
that's amazing.
For Dio.
Yeah. So
you must have stopped playing music when you went to culinary school?
No,
you played right through that.
I still played. I had always been in bands really since I'd been 16 years old.
Yeah.
When I was in culinary school, I believe I was in the all-female metal band that I'm still in. They're in New York. I did all that touring stuff when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun times.
All over, I'll bet. Yeah. All over the country?
Yeah, Canada too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tried a lot of different foods?
I think it was more so like alcohol that we tried.
Yeah.
We were so poor. I mean, we were on tour with Biohazard and 25 to Life.
Do you remember what you did for food on the road? I mean, your money, I'm sure, was always real tight. You said alcohol was a big priority.
When we would play shows, we'd be like, all right, well, we want money, and then we want a case of blah, 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 and then like pizza or something like that, and it would be included in our shows. But when we were traveling on the road, just like gas station food, and I mean, I have a couple of really funny stories, like the Chinese food, like the all you can eat. Like, we would stay there for 9 hours.
Yeah.
And then there was a place called Roy Rogers, which I don't even think.
Oh, yeah. I remember that very well.
So remember they had a Fixin' Bar?
That I don't remember. I just remember their roast beef sandwiches.
So the Fixin' Bar was just like lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, like everything that you're going to put on a burger.
So you were involved in the rock and roll world from the time you were 14.
Yep.
And very creative world. You ended up in a culinary school. Very creative. Is cooking an art?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I think anything that you're passionate about and that you can bring your own flair to becomes an art.
What about plumbing?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean.
Is there anything that's not an art?
Murdering people? I don't know.
Well, that's not an occupation for most of us.
Well,
Yeah. No, it's cool. I just like to throw that out every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely a curveball of a question. Yeah, it's like one of those things that I have to like sit and think about, and thinking is not my, main thing I do. Yeah. So
You're very funny. Very funny. Meredith Herman of the Gnosh Pit. How do people find you?
Facebook, the Gnosh Pit food truck on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Gnoshpit.com.
But you also have a website.
Yeah, the Gnoshpit.com.
Which I got to tell you, one of the I told you that, I'm never going to badmouth any food business on this show. I just won't do it. But what drives me bananas is when a food business, their Facebook page is their website. Drives me crazy.
Well, then we're good, because now I have two separate things.
Yeah, you got both.
We're on Instagram too, but I don't do my own Instagram. My drummer actually in my chick band in New York, she does my Instagram.
Oh, is that right?
Because I don't know, I'm old. Like I bring back MySpace. I even remember Friendster.
That I don't know, but that doesn't mean anything.
Can I do a shout out for the two bands that I'm in?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. I'm in an all-female metal band called Dormitory Effect. Mm-hmm. They're out in New York. And then I'm in a hardcore band here, and it's 3/4 female, called Call to Harm. And I am the oldest person in the band. Yeah, they're all like 20 years old.
Where do you perform?
We're all over the place. We did Reggie's in Wilmington, a place called Arcadia Studios. When I go up to Long Island, we do various places up there. Sometimes they come down here too.
And how do they find your band?
Call to Harm, CALL, the number 2, and Harm on Facebook or Instagram, and Dormitory Effect on Facebook. I don't think we have an Instagram. Maybe we do.
Yeah.
Never been on it.
Well, there you go. She's a jack of all trades, and I haven't heard her music, but if it's anywhere near as good as her food, you better run and see her. Meredith Herman, thank you so much for coming in to talking about food. Wow, what an interesting woman. Meredith Herman. Sounds like we would have done some real damage together back in the day. Wow. Anyway, coming up after the break, my commentary on the Grumpy Mustache in Murrells Inlet. It is not part of the Grumpy chain that you see around town, and thankfully so. We'll be talking about that right after the break. Welcome back to Talking About Food. There's this place around the corner from me called the Grumpy Mustache. And I must have passed it 100 times. I live in that area. Back and forth to Kroger, Publix. I just never paid attention to it because I thought that it was part of the grumpy whatever that you see around the Grand Strand. And the other places are fine. It's just not my cup of tea. Anyway, my dear friend Jack Gregory, who's eaten in more places in the Grand Strand, I think, than anybody. I think he may have some competition with Amy Everhart, the Myrtle Beach foodie babe. But Amy's a bit younger than Jack, so I would put my money on Jack Gregory. They both know their food. Jack and I have talked about going there often. He's been there a number of times, and we finally got the chance to go earlier this week, and I'm so glad that we did. As much as I am a fan of pizza, I'm almost as big a fan of burgers. And the burger that we had, or that I had, it was really good. Now, I don't know if you remember, I had said a few episodes back that just like pizza, when I try pizza for the first time in a new restaurant, new in regards to the fact that I haven't been there before, I try the plain cheese pizza because I need to know that they get the basics right. And I have the same principle with hamburgers. I ordered my hamburger. It's a 3rd-pound burger, which is a nice size. And it comes with lettuce, tomato, onions, and I take the tomato off. I'm not crazy about tomatoes on a hamburger, but that's neither here nor there. So I get to taste the flavor of the beef. Now, it is a certain mixture of Angus beef and brisket. This may come as a surprise, but I really don't care. I really don't. I went to a place a couple of months ago that they advertise all these different blends and everything. And I went there, it was okay. I really don't care what the mixture is. I just want to taste a good beef burger grilled on the griddle with, fresh lettuce and onions on it and a nice soft bun. And even with the bun, it just doesn't bother me that much that it's some unique type of bread like brioche or potato. What is very interesting about the bread that they use at the Grumpy Mustache is that it's made by Benjamin's. Benjamin's Bakery in Surfside is phenomenal. And when they, I don't know for sure if they make the hamburger buns, but once again, it doesn't matter to me that much. It was delicious. But I do know that Benjamin Bakery makes all of the bread that they use for their sandwiches. So anyway, I got a 3rd-pound burger. It was $17.50. You could say it's a little bit high, but it came with a nice large serving of French fries. And I ordered some of their very popular coleslaw, which is not a creamy coleslaw. It is vinegar-based, so it's got a little zip to it, and it's nice and crunchy, and it feels a bit light, goes well with a hamburger. It's a pretty eclectic menu. They have burgers, they have their own grumpy nachos. They're homemade, and it's great. They make the homemade queso, the cheese sauce, cheddar cheese, pico de gallo, lettuce, sour cream. Excellent. It's really good. Like I said, it's eclectic because then, you go down the menu a little bit and have Reuben egg rolls. I mean, that's pretty cool. I like that kind of thing. They have Coney Island hot dogs, Detroit style. They have grilled sausage with sauerkraut, so there's a really nice mix of food on the menu. They've only been opened, I think it's just about a couple of years, maybe a year or two. They just recently got their liquor license, so they serve great drinks there. It's going to be a really cool nighttime place to watch a game and have some drinks, but I recommend it. I liked it enough to go back and try some different types of it. They've got a very unique hamburger. It's a peanut butter burger, which it's a little out there for me, but hey, that's happened before where, people will tell me about some bizarre combination and I go and taste it and it works. So who am I to say? But I'd certainly go back and try their farmhouse burger. Looks great. Swiss cheese, grilled onions, and mushrooms. That sounds like a great burger as long as I've had the original one first. And my friend Jack Gregory had the Reuben. And when I asked what he thought of it, he said, quote, "This is the best Reuben I have ever eaten," end quote. And he told me later on, he took half of it home. It's a large sandwich. He took it home to his dear wife, Sweet Beth, and she echoed his words. Can't wait to try that one. It's a good place. Friendly wait staff, which always makes a nice dinner or lunch that much better. So they are at 314017 Business and Murrells Inlet. And thank you, Jack Gregory, for taking me there. It was another good find and certainly worth revisiting. And you may have noticed no pizza commentary this week. Like I said in my interview with Meredith Herman, went to 3 different places and didn't like any of them. Oh well, the hunt goes on. That's going to just about wrap up the show for this week. We had 2 long interviews. Hope you enjoyed them. Jamie Johnson of Judy Boone's in Murrells Inlet, the fantastic Southern buffet, and Meredith Herman. Very, very interesting woman. I mean, she is just, she's in the music business, heavy metal, and great food truck, popular, excellent food, great combinations there. Seek them both out, folks. It's worth it. I don't steer you wrong. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Always remember that you are your family's private chef. Talk to you next week.